Okay, this too is Monday. Oops. April 2nd. Homework. Okay, this is the homework. But we know we don't really do homework, so if you just take a couple minutes here, this is going to be classwork. You do not need to turn it in. You may use this, though, on your test next week. If you don't have it, you don't use it. Okay? So if you don't want to do this, don't do it. You just you won't have it for your test next week. Okay? So for those people that want to do well on their test next week, this is for you. Okay? So number 2. You're just going to do the evens, 2 through 20. So we're just going to do 10 problems here. So it says write as a single logarithm. Assume that the variables represent positive numbers. So on this first one, notice that they both have base 5. So you're going to write log base 5 once. We're going to do a single logarithm. This is 2 logarithms. We're going to write 1 logarithm. If you see a subtraction, I already told you the answer. If you see a subtraction, you're going to divide whatever comes after the subtraction, which is the x. And you're done. That's it. Answer. Okay. Number 4. This one's a little different because you have these numbers out front. Notice you didn't have any numbers out front in number 2, but you do have numbers out front in number 4. So you have to make these exponents for x, and the 6 is going to be the exponent for y. So first thing you want to do is rewrite that. So you have log base 3 of x to the 5th plus log base 3 of y to the 6th. So those numbers out front, which are coefficients right now, can shrink and become exponents. And you have to do this before you can condense. You can't condense unless it starts with the word log. So now that it starts with the word log, you would have log base 3 of x to the 5th times y to the 6th. And since you can't multiply those, that's your answer. So number 4's answer is log. Now watch how I write this base 3. See how it's under the line? Make sure it's tiny and under the line. And then x to the 5th is right next to the log, and y is next to the log. Make sure those are all on the same line. Make sure your answer looks like that. 6. So do you see we have numbers out front again? So we're going to do this again. So we have log base 5 of x, and then this 1/2 is going to become its exponent. So we're going to have x to the 1/2. But you have to know that if you have x to the 1/2, that's really a square root of x. We're going to do that in the next step. Plus log base 5 of 2x minus 1. Make sure, you see how this is in parentheses? It's in parentheses because it's more than one term. So you should have that grouped together in parentheses. And then this 3 is going to become that exponent of 2x minus 1. So this would be all good, except this 1/2 really means square root of x. So I'm going to change that right now. Anytime you see x to the 1/2, you should think of that as square root of x. So that's that one. Plus means times, and then times all of this, 2x minus 1 to the 3rd. I'm not going to make you FOIL that or anything. I know the answer looks weird, but that is your answer. So it's log base 5 of the square root of x times 2x minus 1 cubed. Notice everything's in line with the log here, except for that exponent, and the 5, which is the base, is under the line. So make sure you write it like this. Oops, you can't see that. I'm so sorry. So 8. We have a number out front. It's going to become an exponent, and it's 1/3. Oh, a 1/3 means, anytime you have a fraction, it means it's a root. Okay, so we have to be careful. So we have log base 4 of x to the 5th plus, you guys understand that 5 became the exponent? Plus log base 4. So this is going to be x plus 1 to the 1/3, but you never want to have a fraction exponent. So that's really going to be log base 4 of the cube root of x plus 1. That's how you would write a fractional exponent. So our final answer is going to be log base 4 of x to the 5th, that's this one, times, because there's a plus sign, times the cube root of x plus 1. So let's write that in here. We have log, make sure the base 4 is under the line, and then you have x to the 5th and the cube root of x plus 1. 10. We have both of these are 1/2, so these are both going to be square roots. So it's going to be log base 7 of x to the 1/2 plus log base 7 of y to the 1/2, which is really log base 7 of the square root of x plus log base 7 of the square root of y. So your answer is log base 7 of the square root of x times the square root of y. Now you actually are allowed to multiply square roots, so 10's answer would be log base 7 of the square root of x times y. Now we're going to expand them. So start by counting your factors. There's two factors, an x and a y. So we need two logarithms. Start by writing let me move this down. Start by writing two logarithms, okay? Because there's two factors. So the first logarithm gets x squared. And because you're multiplying them, there's a plus. The second logarithm gets the y to the third. This would be a good answer, except when you have logs, they like exponents to be the big factors out front. So this would be 2 log base 4 of x plus 3 log base 4 of y. So I'm going to write that over here. Big 2 log base 4 x, make sure the 4 is hanging low, plus big 3 log base 4 of y. 14. Log base 4 of cube root of x. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and write that for what it is. This is log base 4 of x to the 1/3. When you see a cube root of x, we're going to change it back to an exponent, x to the 1/3. Minus. Why is it minus? Because we're dividing. So we have a minus. Log base 4 of y squared. See how it's all in the same line? So even though it's dividing, we're going to subtract up here and everything's going to be all in the same line. The only thing I have to do now is release these exponents out front. We'll write it over here. We're going to have 1/3 log base 4 of x minus 2 log base 4 of y. 16. There's two factors. So let's write log base 5 twice. The first one is x cube root of x, which is really x to the 1/3. You're right. Because you're dividing, it's minus. And then this one, is this the one I just did? Okay, this is pretty much the same problem that we just did. I'm like, this, I feel like it has a different base, but everything else is the same. So it's going to be 1/3 log base 5 x minus 2 log base 5 of y. That was weird. Same problem, pretty much. Two more problems. True or false? Is 15 divided by 3 5? The answer to that is false, because this one would really be log base 8 of 15 minus 3. It would have been a 12, not a 5. You would subtract those. Isn't that weird that you would subtract those, not divide them? So that would be false. So false. And then this one is one of those problems that we did at the end of the notes. Log base b of 100. But all you're given is 4 and 5. We have to express 100 using 4s and 5s. Have any ideas? How about 4 times 5 times 5? This is 25, right? 25 times 4 is 100. So 4 times 5 times 5. So that's 3 factors, which means that we have to write log base b 3 times, because there's 3 factors. So it's 4, 5, and 5. You were multiplying everything, so everything's adding. And then log base 4 says right there is 0.71. So replace log base 4 with 0.71. Log base b of 5 is right here, 0.83. Borrow a calculator if you have to. The answer is 0.71, or just wait for my answer, 0.83 plus 0.83. Answer, 2.37. And your homework's done.